Ever felt that instant drop in your stomach when a customer crosses their arms and says those dreaded words? I need to speak to your manager. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to reveal the psychological warfare behind this phrase that retail workers everywhere fear, and why it's much more damaging than most customers realize. Have you ever wondered what actually happens after that customer disappears into the back office with your manager? Stick around, because reason number 3 might actually change how you handle difficult situations forever. Those 5 words, "Can I speak to the manager?" instantly transform any normal retail interaction into a high-stakes confrontation. Here's exactly why this phrase makes retail workers everywhere cringe. First, it immediately signals that all your authority has been stripped away. When a customer demands to speak to a manager, they're essentially declaring that you're not worth their time or respect. Studies show that this type of social dismissal activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Yes, that's right. Being bypassed for your manager literally hurts on a neurological level. Think about it. How would you feel if every decision you made at work could be overruled by simply asking for someone else? This is the reality retail workers face daily. But wait, I know what some of you are thinking. Sometimes I genuinely need to speak to a manager when there's a serious problem. Fair point, and we'll address exactly when it's appropriate in just a moment. Second, it creates the infamous manager paradox, where managers often just approve what you already said no to. In a survey of retail managers, 65% admitted they frequently make exceptions to policies that employees are strictly required to follow. This creates an impossible situation where workers are caught between enforcing rules. They'll be reprimanded for breaking and facing customer anger for not immediately breaking those same rules. Remember that time I mentioned in the beginning when customers disappear into the back office? Here's what typically happens. The manager offers exactly what you initially denied, not because you were wrong, but because managers can bypass the very policies they enforce on their staff. Have you ever been in a position where you couldn't win, no matter what you did? That's the daily reality for retail workers facing the manager request. Third, it transforms you into the bad guy in the customer service narrative. Once a manager enters the scene, you're instantly cast as the obstacle rather than the helper. Psychology shows that humans naturally create stories with heroes and villains. And in this retail drama, requesting a manager recasts the employee as the antagonist, regardless of how helpful they were trying to be. This might sound familiar if you've worked retail. You spend 15 minutes patiently helping someone, only for them to suddenly decide you're deliberately sabotaging them and demand your supervisor. I know some of you watching might be thinking, but I've had legitimately terrible service that required escalation. You're right, there are absolutely times when speaking to a manager is appropriate. The key difference is whether you're seeking resolution or trying to exercise power over someone. Fourth, it's frequently weaponized as an intimidation tactic before any real problem solving can occur. Retail workers report that approximately 40% of manager requests happen within the first minute of interaction, before they've even had a chance to help. This isn't problem solving, it's a power move designed to skip what customers perceive as lower-level assistance. Remember that feeling I described at the beginning, that sinking sensation? It comes from knowing that some customers lead with this phrase specifically to watch you squirm. Finally, it perpetuates the toxic "customer is always right" fallacy that's destroying retail work environments. The original phrase actually meant the customer's preferences and products should guide what stores stock, not "customers can behave however they want without consequences." Think back to the second point about the manager paradox. This is where it all connects. When managers consistently override employees to please difficult customers, they reinforce the very behavior making retail jobs unbearable. So next time you're tempted to ask for a manager, try this instead. I understand you might have policies to follow. Can we work together to find a solution? Or if you can't help, could you explain why? This approach acknowledges the employee as a human being with actual authority and expertise. Because ultimately, the person standing in front of you isn't just an obstacle to overcome. They're a human trying to do their job. And treating them with dignity costs nothing but means everything. If this video helped you understand retail work a little better, hit that like button and share your own retail stories in the comments. Have you been on either side of the manager conversation? I want to hear about it. Subscribe for more retail reality checks coming next week.